At my son's birthday party, my ex-wife and her boyfriend stood in the doorway and wouldn't let me in. "You're a useless loser. Go away," she snapped right in my face. Security held my arms. I just smiled, turned around, and left. I made one phone call. 20 minutes later, her sister ran outside shaking. "What did you do?" she asked. "The judge just called and wants all of us in court tomorrow morning." They thought they'd won. At my own son's birthday party, my ex-wife spat in my face, her boyfriend blocked the door, and hired muscle physically threw me out. But that quiet smile I gave them? That was the calm before I unleashed the storm that would absolutely shatter their lives. You know, a few months before all that chaos, I was sitting in the Pike County Courthouse, watching the autumn rain streak down the windows. My divorce was finally getting finalized. I was 42, a criminal defense attorney, known for my self-control, and trust me, I needed every ounce of it that day. My hands, still rough from my working-class past, rested on the polished table, but inside, a hurricane was brewing. Across the room sat Bethany, soon to be Bethany Lafferty, again, and right next to her, looking smug as hell, was Ryan Steiger. The sight of his hand on her thigh, possessive, made my jaw clench so hard I thought my teeth would crack. Just 6 months earlier, I had gotten this guy acquitted on aggravated assault charges. Apparently, his gratitude extended to sleeping with my wife of 15 years. Yeah, that's how I found out. My attorney, Marlene, ran through the terms. I'd keep the house. Bethany got the vacation property. Joint custody of Theo, alternating weekends and holidays. Standard child support. Judge Weinstein called it relatively amicable. I almost snorted. Amicable? No. Calculated, that was the word. I've always believed revenge is a dish best served cold, methodical, and oh, so legally. At least, that's where you start. Then the judge mentioned Theo's birthday was that Saturday. Bethany was hosting, but the order specifically said I was entitled to attend for 2 hours. Ryan, that arrogant idiot, actually leaned forward to object. The judge shut him down fast. 2 hours, Mr. Mercer. Everyone will behave appropriately for the child's sake. Yeah, right? Outside, Marlene stopped me. "You okay?" she asked, watching Bethany and Ryan practically sprint to their car. "Fine," I said. She was still confused why I hadn't fought harder for the practice, which I'd built from the ground up. "It's not about the money," I told her. She gave me that look. "What look?" I asked, though I knew. "The one you get right before you utterly obliterate a prosecution's case." I let a small, cold smile play on my lips. "I need to prepare for Theo's birthday," I told her. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed. A text from Pascal Bennett, my old military buddy who now runs a private intelligence firm. Information secured. Meeting tonight. I typed back, confirmed. 9 p.m. The rain started pouring down, but my mind was already racing, charting the first moves in a game Bethany and Ryan had no idea they were even playing. Pascal's office was in this old factory building, now converted, all high-tech and buzzing. He greeted me with a firm handshake, his prosthetic hand cold against mine, a souvenir from Afghanistan, our last deployment. We skipped the coffee. I just wanted to know what he'd found. He slid a tablet across the desk. "Ryan Steiger," he said, careful, but not careful enough. Turns out, 3 years ago, when Ryan worked security for Westridge Pharmaceuticals, he had a little side hustle, helping the Delmare cartel access proprietary formulas. He was never caught, just quietly fired to avoid scandal. That's when he popped up in Pike County, right into my life. Then Bethany. Pascal's face darkened. "She's been planning this for over a year, Harlan." Text messages between them go back 14 months. She was feeding him everything, my case files, my schedule, even details about my home security system. And the trust fund? My suspicion was right. $2.3 million stashed in an offshore account under her maiden name, completely undisclosed during the divorce. Then he brought up Theodora, Bethany's great-aunt. Terminal cancer, 6 months tops. Bethany was her sole living relative, sole beneficiary of a nearly $5 million estate. Pieces were clicking into place, but the rage was building. Pascal's next words hit me like a physical blow. "There's more. Theo's medical records." My expression hardened. "Show me." Bethany, my ex-wife, my son's mother, had removed Theo's peanut allergy from his school records. A single wrong snack could put my child into anaphylactic shock. For a split second, pure, unfiltered rage tore through me, before I shoved it back down under my professional mask. "I already contacted the school nurse anonymously," I told Pascal quietly. "The records have been corrected." I stood up, buttoning my jacket. "I need one more thing." "Judge Sylvia Monroe." Pascal frowned. "Family court?" "She's incorruptible, Harlan." "Good," I said. "I don't need corruption. I need her schedule for Saturday afternoon." Pascal's eyes widened in understanding. "The birthday party. Can you get me a direct line to her chambers?" He nodded slowly. "Consider it done." As I turned to leave, Pascal called after me. Harlan, whatever you're planning. Don't worry, I replied, not looking back. Everything will be perfectly legal. That's not what concerns me, he said. I paused at the door. What does? I've seen that look before, he told me. In Kandahar. Before you walked into that compound alone. I let a cold smile touch my lips. Then you know what happened to the men who underestimated me. Saturday arrived with skies so perfect, it felt like the universe was taunting the dark purpose I carried. I parked a block away from the sprawling house I'd once shared with Bethany, the one where I'd carried her over the threshold, where we'd brought Theo home. I checked my watch, 2 p.m., exactly as the court order stipulated. In one hand, a carefully wrapped gift. In the other, my phone, Judge Monroe's direct line programmed and ready. Children's laughter drifted from the backyard as I approached the door. I rang the bell, straightened my tie, and waited. Bethany opened it, her floral sundress and fake smile instantly evaporating when she saw me. Behind her, Ryan stood, arms crossed, looking like a bouncer. What are you doing here? Bethany demanded. My voice remained steady. I'm here for Theo's birthday. Court order. Ryan stepped forward, oozing arrogance. Party started. Theo doesn't need you ruining it. 2 hours, I countered. Judge Weinstein was quite specific. Bethany's sister, Liv, appeared in the hall, looking confused. Ryan then fully blocked the doorway. Listen, you pathetic deadbeat. Get lost. Nobody wants you here. Bethany hissed, getting closer. You think anyone in there respects you? After I left you? You're nothing but a joke. My face stayed impassive. Court order, Bethany. Ryan put his hand on my chest. Court order doesn't mean shit here. Try to push past me. See what happens. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw 2 security guards, friends of Ryan's from his old bouncing days, approaching. Mr. Mercer, one called out, placing a firm hand on my shoulder. Time to leave. Everything hung in the air, a knife's edge moment. I felt the guard's weight, saw the smug triumph in Ryan's eyes, the contempt in Bethany's. Then I did. Something that visibly unsettled them all. I smiled. Without a word, I placed Theo's gift on the doorstep, turned, and walked calmly back to my car. Once inside, I dialed the number. Judge Monroe, came the crisp answer. Your Honor, this is Harlan Mercer. I apologize for disturbing your weekend, but there's an urgent matter regarding a child welfare concern and a violation of court orders that requires immediate attention. 10 minutes later, I watched from my car as Bethany's phone rang. The shock, then fear, on her face was almost theatrical. She handed the phone to Ryan, who went pale as he listened. Moments later, Liv came rushing out, face sheet white, straight to my car. What the hell did you just do? She demanded, trembling. The judge called. She wants to see us, all of us. Today. I stepped out of my car, adjusting my cuffs. I simply reported a violation of a court order and potential child endangerment. Child endangerment. Are you insane? She shrieked. My voice was deadly quiet. Removing Theo's peanut allergy from his medical records. What would you call it? The color drained from Liv's face. Bethany and Ryan need to bring Theo to Judge Monroe's chambers in 1 hour, I told her. I'll meet you there. As I opened my car door, I added, Liv, this is just the beginning. Judge Sylvia Monroe's chambers were eerily quiet that Saturday. No usual courthouse noise, just the soft ticking of an antique clock. I sat absolutely still, a statue of patience. Bethany, across from me, kept checking her phone, while Ryan fidgeted with his watch. Theo sat between them, absorbed in a game, headphones on, blissfully unaware of the storm swirling around him. Judge Monroe, a legendary figure of no-nonsense justice, finally looked up. Her steel-gray eyes swept across us. I've reviewed the evidence Mr. Mercer has provided, she began, her voice grave. Falsification of medical records, violation of custody orders, and a pattern of parental alienation. Bethany straightened. Your Honor, those accusations are documented. Judge Monroe cut her off, holding up a thick folder. School records showing the removal of a life-threatening allergy. Text messages between you and Mr. Steiger discussing how to prevent Mr. Mercer from seeing his son. Testimony from the security personnel Mr. Steiger hired, instructed to remove Mr. Mercer by any means necessary. Ryan started to lean forward. Judge, I can explain, Mr. Steiger, she snapped. You have no legal standing here. You are an observer. Ouch! She softened for Theo, sending him out with her assistant. Then, her demeanor hardened again. Miss Lafferty, these actions constitute contempt of court at minimum. At worst, grounds for modification of custody. Bethany paled. You can't. Oh, yes, I can, the judge shot back. And given the documented risk to your child's health, I'm inclined to issue an emergency modification today. This was it. The pivot point. Your Honor, I interjected smoothly, if I may offer an alternative. All eyes were on me. I have no desire to disrupt Theo's life further. Children need stability. I propose we maintain the current custody arrangement, but with court-mandated supervision of Miss Lafferty's parenting decisions regarding medical care and education. Judge Monroe eyed me. You're being remarkably generous, Mr. Mercer. I'm thinking of my son, I replied simply. What I didn't say was that this was just the opening gambit, a pawn sacrifice to set up my major pieces. This supervision would mean weekly meetings, endless documentation, and scrutiny that would feel like a noose tightening around Bethany's neck. Additionally, I added, I request Mr. Steiger have no involvement in decisions regarding Theo's well-being. Ryan shot to his feet. This is bullshit. You can't, Judge Monroe's voice cracked like a whip. One more outburst, Mr. Steiger, and you're removed. You have no parental rights here. Bethany grabbed Ryan's arm, pulling him back down. Her eyes finally met mine, and in them I saw it. She finally recognized the trap I'd laid. Judge Monroe ruled, supervised custody for Bethany, weekly reports to the court, and Ryan completely out of the picture regarding Theo. As we left, I paused beside Bethany. You should have read the divorce agreement more carefully, I murmured, especially the clause about endangering Theo's health. This isn't over, she hissed. On that, I replied, we are in perfect alignment. Outside, Pascal was waiting in his unmarked car. How'd it go? He asked. Phase 1 complete, I said, watching Bethany, Ryan, and Theo drive away. Begin Phase 2. I want everything on Westridge Pharmaceuticals. Board members, security, internal investigations. And Bethany's great-aunt. Arrange a visit. Tell her I'm handling a revision to her estate planning. Pro bono, of course. Pascal raised an eyebrow. You're playing a dangerous game, Harlan. No, I corrected. I'm playing their game. They just don't know the rules yet. My next target was Aunt Theodora. Riverdale Palliative Care Center was beautiful, manicured acres overlooking the Delaware. I moved through the hushed corridors like I belonged, nodding to staff, a bouquet of lilies in my hand, playing the concerned family member role to perfection. Room 317. Theodora Lafferty, frail but sharp-eyed, was propped up in bed. You're not from hospice, she stated flatly. No, Miss Lafferty, I said, placing the lilies. I'm Harlan Mercer. Recognition, then a flicker of annoyance. Bethany's ex-husband, the lawyer. You've got some nerves showing up here. I've been told that before, I replied, taking a seat. I understand you've been working with Brady and Winters on your estate plan. Her eyes narrowed. Bethany mentioned your conniving. Seems she undersold it. Bethany tells many stories, I responded evenly. Some truer than others. Get to the point, Mr. Mercer, she cut me off. I'm dying, not senile. I appreciated her directness. Your estate is substantial. Currently, it's structured to pass entirely to Bethany. I pulled a folder from my briefcase. Did you know that Bethany has been systematically endangering your great-great-nephew Theo's health by concealing his medical conditions? I laid out the altered school records, the nurse's affidavit, Judge Monroe's ruling. Her hands trembled. Why would she do this? Control, I said simply. And to remove obstacles to her relationship with Ryan Steiger, who, incidentally, has a documented history of violence and connections to drug trafficking. I showed her Ryan's sealed criminal records, acquired through Pascal's unexplained channels. Bethany told me you were abusive, Theodora said, testing me. Did she mention specific incidents? She hesitated. No, just that you were controlling. I locked eyes with her. Ask yourself, Miss Lafferty, in the 15 years you've known me, have you ever seen evidence of that? Or is it possible Bethany is projecting her own behaviors onto me? Silence. She absorbed my words. Finally, a heavy sigh. What do you want, Mr. Mercer? I'm not here for your money, I assured her. I'm here because Theo deserves protection, even from his mother, if necessary. And you expect me to disinherit my only niece based on your say-so? I expect nothing, I replied. I'm merely providing information you deserve before finalizing your estate. Plans. I stood, placing my card on her table. Whatever you decide, I wish you peace. As I reached the door, she called out, Mr. Mercer. I turned. I've lived long enough to recognize genuine concern, she said quietly. And genuine manipulation. Sometimes they look remarkably similar. I nodded. The difference is in the outcome, Miss Lafferty. Who benefits from your decision? And who suffers? 3 days later, Gerald Winters, Theodora's attorney, called. Mr. Mercer, Miss Lafferty has requested your presence for the signing of her new will tomorrow at 2 p.m. She was quite insistent. The next day, Bethany was there too, her face tight with barely contained fury. Welcome to our little gathering, Theodora greeted us, her voice surprisingly strong. I made some changes I thought everyone should hear directly. Gerald Winters cleared his throat, looking uncomfortable, and read the new provisions. 20% of the estate to Bethany. 30% to Theo, in a trust until he was 25, managed by a neutral third party. And the remaining 50%? To establish a foundation for children with severe allergies. and I was appointed to the board of directors. Bethany's composure shattered. You can't be serious. After everything I've done for you, yes, let's discuss what you've done, Theodora interrupted, her voice like ice. Like telling me Harlan couldn't be bothered to visit when I was hospitalized last year, when in fact you never told him I was ill. Or perhaps, how you've been systematically overdosing my pain medication on the days before my cognitive assessments with Dr. Feldman. The room went silent. Even I hadn't known that detail. My respect for Theodora grew exponentially. You're confused. Bethany tried, shooting me a venomous glance. He's manipulating you. The only person who's been manipulating anyone is you, Bethany, Theodora stated firmly. I may be dying, but I'm not a fool. Gerald has documented my mental competence with 3 independent psychiatrists. The will stands. After the papers were signed, I helped Theodora back to her room, leaving Bethany to stew with the attorney. She'll contest it, Theodora murmured as I adjusted her pillows. She'll lose, I replied confidently. Theodora studied me. You didn't tell me about the medication. I didn't know, I admitted. But you're not surprised. No, I said. I'm not. She patted my hand weakly. You're a dangerous man, Harlan Mercer. I hope my great-nephew has inherited your spine rather than his mother's ethics. As I left, I saw Bethany in the parking lot, yelling into her phone, presumably at Ryan. When she saw me, her face twisted into pure hatred. I just gave her a polite nod as I walked past. Phase 2, complete. Bethany's financial future was crumbling. And with it, Ryan's interest, I suspected. Now for Phase 3, dismantling Ryan Steiger himself. Westridge Pharmaceuticals headquarters, a glass tower dominating the Philadelphia skyline, glowed with the setting sun as I rode the elevator to the executive floor. Carson West, the CEO, had sent an email, unexpected, but a perfect piece falling into place for me. Carson, a fit 65-year-old with a firm handshake, rose to greet me. Mr. Mercer, thank you for coming on such short notice. Your message sounded urgent, I replied, taking a seat. He nodded gravely. 3 days ago, our security team detected an intrusion into our research database. Our newest cancer treatment protocols. $1 billion breakthrough, potentially. I'm sorry to hear that, I said, but I specialize in criminal defense, not corporate espionage. The breach originated from an IP address associated with Ryan Steiger, Carson stated flatly. Bingo. My face remained neutral, but inside, I felt a surge of satisfaction. Pascal's breadcrumbs were perfect, traceable but without any link back to me. That's quite a coincidence, I remarked carefully. Is it? Carson slid a folder across the desk. Our investigation uncovered communications between Steiger and Delmare cartel affiliates dating back to his employment here. We believe he's selling our research. Have you contacted the authorities? Not yet. Carson leaned forward. We understand Mr. Steiger is involved with your ex-wife. I raised an eyebrow. You've done your homework. So has your friend, Mr. Bennett, he countered. He reached out last week with concerns about industrial espionage. Very patriotic of him. We understood each other perfectly. No need to explicitly acknowledge the staged nature of this little play. What exactly are you asking of me, Mr. West? Your expertise, he replied smoothly, in negotiating with the Justice Department. If we report this directly, it goes public. Stock prices plummet. But if a respected attorney with federal connections helps facilitate a quiet investigation. I nodded slowly. I can make some calls. Arrange a meeting with the appropriate officials, properly framed. This can be handled with discretion. Excellent. He stood. I've prepared a retainer agreement. As I signed, he added casually, oh, and we have a board meeting next Friday to discuss the situation. Your presence would be appreciated. Friday, I echoed. That's Theo's weekend with his mother. Bring him along, Carson suggested. My grandson is about his age. They could swim in the company pool while we meet. I offered a thin smile. That's very thoughtful. I'll need to make arrangements with Bethany. Of course. Of course. Later that evening, I called Bethany, as the court's supervision order now required. I need to switch weekends with Theo. I have an unavoidable meeting Friday. Absolutely not, she snapped. You know we're taking Theo to Ryan's lake house that weekend. It's been planned for weeks. I understand, I replied evenly. But this is a significant client. Perhaps Ryan could. Ryan's already taken time off, she cut me off. The answer is no, Harlan. I see, I said. In that case, I'll need to inform Judge Monroe about the change in plans. The supervision order requires disclosure of all overnight trips with Theo, particularly to remote locations. A long silence stretched. Fine, she finally hissed. But you'll take him the following weekend instead. Thank you for your flexibility, I said politely. I'll pick him up Friday at noon. After ending the call, I texted Pascal, lake house plans canceled. Proceed with installation. His reply was instant, team already in place. Equipment ready. Everything was falling into place. By Friday, Ryan would be meeting federal agents. By Saturday, the lake house would be ready. And by Sunday, the final phase would begin. I poured myself 2 fingers of bourbon, raising the glass in a silent toast to the coming storm. Friday morning, a thunderstorm raged outside, mirroring the mood in Ryan Steiger's apartment. Bethany paced, furious, as Ryan frantically packed. "I don't understand why you have to go now," she protested. "We were supposed to leave for the lake house in 3 hours. Carson West called personally." Ryan snapped, shoving shirts into his suitcase. "They have a security breach and they need me to consult. I designed their system, Bethany. This could be a huge opportunity, a promotion." Bethany's eyes narrowed. "And Harlan suddenly needing to switch weekends? That doesn't strike you as suspicious?" Ryan paused, a flicker of doubt, then dismissed it. "Harlan doesn't even know about my Westridge history. He's not that connected." "You underestimate him," she warned. "He's been 2 steps ahead of us since the divorce." Ryan zipped his bag. "I can't refuse. The CEO, can I? Besides, Westridge is talking about a $50,000 consulting fee. We need that money, especially after your aunt's little bombshell." The mention of Theodora's will, the millions lost, silenced Bethany. "Fine," she conceded. "But I'm telling you, Harlan is behind this somehow." "You're paranoid," Ryan said, checking his watch. "Gotta go. Call you tonight." He gave her a quick kiss. "Reschedule the lake house for next weekend. We'll celebrate with the Westridge money then." Across town, I was sitting in Judge Monroe's chambers, finalizing the modifications to the custody order. "These provisions seem reasonable," she noted. "Expanded summer visitation, joint decision-making on education, continued medical supervision." "Thank you, Your Honor," I said. "I believe this arrangement best serves Theo's interests." She peered at me over her reading glasses. "You know, Mr. Mercer, most spouses fight for every advantage. Revenge benefits no one. Least of all Theo," I replied smoothly. She gave me a slight, almost knowing smile. "Very diplomatic. I'll sign the order today." As I gathered my papers, she added, "By the way, a colleague mentioned seeing you at Westridge Pharmaceuticals yesterday. Expanding your practice areas." "Just helping an old friend with a sensitive matter," I said casually. "Involving federal agents, from what I hear," she remarked, her expression unreadable. For a moment, the air hummed with unspoken understanding. "Corporate espionage concerns," I replied, meeting her gaze evenly. "Nothing that would interest family court, unless it involved parties to a custody case." "Purely coincidental, I assure you," I said finally. She nodded slowly. "Of course. Good day, Mr. Mercer." At noon, I picked up Theo from Bethany's house. He was subdued. "Mom said you ruined our lake trip," he mumbled. "Did she?" I kept my voice neutral. "I'm sorry about that, but I have something special planned instead. How would you like to swim in a rooftop pool with a view of the whole city?" His eyes widened. "Really? Really? And then, dinner at that dinosaur restaurant you love." By the time we reached the Westridge building, Theo's excitement had replaced his reluctance. Carson Westridge greeted us warmly, introduced Theo to his grandson, then whisked me away to the boardroom. Inside, 2 serious men in dark suits sat with Carson and several board members. "Mr. Mercer, these are Agents Delaney and Sawyer from the FBI Cyber Division," Carson explained. I shook their hands. "We're investigating a potential data breach, among other things," Agent Delaney said grimly. "We've been tracking Delmare cartel movements into pharmaceutical IP theft for months. Your client's situation fits a pattern." The meeting moved efficiently, me guiding the discussion towards a controlled investigation that would protect Westridge's stock value while gathering bulletproof evidence. As we finalized the approach, Carson's assistant entered, urgent. "Mr. Steiger has arrived downstairs." Carson glanced at me. Perfect timing. "Shall we proceed as discussed?" I nodded. "Agents, if you could remain here momentarily. Mr. Westridge and I will greet Mr. Steiger and bring him up." In the lobby, Ryan's confident swagger evaporated the moment he saw me beside Carson. "What the hell is this?" he demanded. "Mr. Steiger," Carson said coldly. "Thank you for coming. Mr. Mercer has been advising us on a security matter that appears to involve you." Ryan's eyes darted between us. "I don't understand." "Perhaps we should continue this conversation upstairs," I suggested smoothly. "Federal agents are waiting." The color drained from Ryan's face. "Federal? This is some kind of setup." "If you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear," Carson stated. "Fuck this." Ryan spat, backing away. "I'm not falling for whatever game you're playing, Mercer." As he turned to leave, 2 security guards blocked his path. "Mr. Westridge would appreciate your cooperation, sir." Ryan's panicked gaze found mine. I simply adjusted my tie. "Running would be unwise, Ryan. It tends to imply guilt." Trapped, he had no choice but to follow them to the elevator. As the doors closed, he hissed, "Bethany was right about you." "No," I replied quietly. She wasn't nearly right enough. The following weekend, Bethany drove to Ryan's lake house alone, knuckles white on the steering wheel. The past week had been a nightmare. Ryan was out on bail, facing federal charges, his assets frozen. The promised Westridge consulting fee? Gone. And though she couldn't prove it, Harlan's fingerprints felt like they were everywhere. She needed to think, to plan their next move. The lakefront cabin, Ryan's pride and joy, bought with cash to hide it from his previous divorce, usually offered refuge. As she turned onto the private road, her phone rang. Unknown number. A crisp female voice. Miss Lafferty, this is Nurse Wilkins from Riverdale Palliative. I'm afraid I have difficult news. Your Aunt Theodora passed away an hour ago. Bethany pulled over, a complex mix of grief and calculation washing over her. The will reading was set for tomorrow. 20% of the estate was still a substantial sum. Enough, perhaps, for Ryan's legal fees. A grim smile touched her lips. Maybe things were finally turning in their favor. She continued to the lake house. The cabin, usually comforting, felt off. The door was unlocked, though Ryan insisted he'd secured everything. Inside, nothing seemed disturbed, but Bethany couldn't shake the feeling of intrusion. She moved cautiously, checking rooms. In the master bedroom, she saw Ryan's laptop on the nightstand. Strange. He'd taken it to Philly. Curious, she opened it. The screen came to life, no password. Another anomaly. The desktop was empty, save for a single folder, for Bethany. Her pulse quickened. She clicked. Inside, a video. She pressed play. It showed this very room, weeks earlier. Ryan entered, with a woman Bethany recognized as his admin assistant. What followed was intimate. It was from a weekend Ryan claimed he was fishing. Bethany's hand flew to her mouth. Then the conversation. The woman curled against Ryan. When are you going to leave her? Soon, Ryan promised. Once the old lady dies and Bethany gets her inheritance, then we're good to go. He laughed. She already added me to her accounts. She's completely blindsided by the custody battle. Hasn't got a clue. I've been moving her money into the offshore account. Bethany paused the video, hands shaking. She checked her banking app. Nearly depleted. Over $200,000 gone, transferred in small increments over 3 months. Frantically, she tore through the laptop. Detailed records of Ryan's dealings. Offshore account info, dates, amounts. Even emails plotting how to access Theodora's estate. As the sheer magnitude of the betrayal crashed over her, another file caught her eye. Westridge evidence. Documents clearly stolen from the pharmaceutical company, communications with buyers. Information that would decimate Ryan's federal defense. Her phone rang. Ryan. Hey, she managed, fighting for control. Where are you? He demanded. At the lake house. Where are you? Listen carefully, Ryan's voice was tense. Don't go inside. Just turn around and leave right now. Too late, Bethany said, cold. I'm already looking at your laptop. Silence. It's not what you think, he finally said. Really? Because it looks exactly like you've been sleeping with your assistant, stealing my money and planning to leave me once you got your hands on Theodora's inheritance. Bethany, save it. She cut him off. I've seen everything. The videos, the transfers, the Westridge files. It's over, Ryan. Listen to me. Ryan's voice was desperate. That laptop wasn't supposed to be there. Someone planted it. Think about it. Who would benefit from turning us against each other right now? Bethany froze. Harlan. Exactly. Ryan exploded. He's setting us both up. The laptop's probably being tracked. Federal agents could be on their way here right now. Bethany looked around frantically. What do I do? Close the laptop. Don't touch anything else. Get out of there now. As Bethany moved to comply, her phone pinged. A text from an unknown number. I've forwarded copies of all files to the FBI, Miss Lafferty. You have approximately 20 minutes before they arrive. I suggest you use that time wisely. Oh my God, Bethany whispered. What? Ryan demanded. She read him the message. FCK. Ryan screamed. This is Harlan's doing. His military buddy, Pascal. They're behind all of it. What do we do? Meet me at the bus station, he spat. Bring cash. Whatever you can grab. We need to disappear. What about Theo? Bethany asked, the words suddenly out there. Ryan's voice hardened. We don't have time for that now. It's survival mode. Theo's with Harlan this weekend anyway. The casual dismissal of her child. It hit Bethany like a physical blow. In that moment, everything snapped into terrible clarity. Harlan hadn't just orchestrated their downfall, he'd revealed their true characters in the process. I have to go, she said quietly. I'll see you at the bus station in an hour, Ryan replied. No, Bethany said. You won't. She ended the call. Then, she sent a text to the unknown number. Tell Harlan I want to talk. On my terms. The reply came instantly, the coffee shop across from the courthouse. 30 minutes. The coffee shop was almost empty when Bethany arrived. I sat at a corner table, 2 steaming cups waiting. I rose as she approached, gesturing to the chair. You look tired, I observed. Cut the bullshit, she snapped. I know what you did. I took a calm sip of coffee. Which part specifically? All of it. The custody hearing, Aunt Theodora's will, Ryan's federal investigation, the lake house setup. You've been orchestrating everything from the beginning. Orchestrating? I raised an eyebrow. An interesting choice of words. It implies I created something from nothing. Did I plant Ryan's infidelity, Bethany? Did I force him to steal from you? To conspire against a dying woman? To endanger our son's health by removing his allergy information? She flinched. That was Ryan's idea. He said it would strengthen our case if we could show you were paranoid about Theo's health. And you agreed, I countered. I made a mistake, she admitted, her voice cracking slightly. Several mistakes, I corrected, my expression unreadable. What do you want, Bethany? To make a deal. I have information the federal prosecutors will want about Ryan's other activities, his real connection to Delmare. I can testify against him in exchange for immunity for myself. And she hesitated, reconsideration of the custody arrangement. I leaned back, regarding her coldly. You believe you deserve another chance with Theo? After everything you've done? I'm his mother, she whispered. Being a mother is more than biology, I replied. It's choices, priorities, sacrifices. I know that now, she pleaded. No, I countered. You know you've lost. There's a difference. I placed a folder on the table between us. These are the terms. Non-negotiable. She opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a complete custody modification. I got full legal and physical custody of Theo. She would have supervised visitation, twice monthly. She would forfeit all claims to marital assets. In exchange, I would arrange a plea deal with federal prosecutors for her. This is fair, I finished for her. Considerably more than fair, given the circumstances. Tears welled in her eyes. I'll never see my son. You'll see him when it serves his interests, not yours, I corrected. And only when you've demonstrated genuine reform. And if I refuse? My expression hardened. Then I stop protecting you. The evidence of your involvement in Ryan's schemes goes to prosecutors. Your knowledge of his corporate espionage, the altered medical records, the texts discussing how to alienate Theo from me. Everything. Bethany stared at me, finally, truly understanding the depth of the trap I'd constructed. You never intended to forgive me, did you? This was always your plan. Forgiveness requires remorse, I replied. You've shown none until you were caught. As for planning, I simply created opportunities for your true character to reveal itself. And Ryan, Mr. Steiger? He made his own choices. His bail was revoked this morning when he failed to appear for a check-in. Border Patrol has been notified. Her shoulders slumped in defeat. Theo will hate me. That depends entirely on you, I said, sliding a pen across the table. Children are remarkably resilient when surrounded by stability and truth. After a long moment, Bethany signed the documents. As she rose to leave, she asked quietly, was any of it real? What we had? I gathered the signed papers methodically. That's the wrong question, Bethany. What's the right one? She asked. Whether it would have mattered to you if it was. I stood. My attorney will contact you about the visitation schedule. The FBI expects your statement tomorrow morning. Outside the coffee shop, Pascal waited in his car. He rolled down the window as I approached. All set? It's done, I confirmed, sliding into the passenger seat. That was quite a game of chess you played, Pascal observed as we pulled away. I gazed out the window at Bethany's diminishing figure. Chess implies equal opponents following established rules. And that's not what this was. I replied quietly. No, this was justice. At home, I found Theo in the backyard, teaching himself to skateboard with determined concentration. Watching his focused expression, so similar to my own, I felt the weight of the past months finally begin to lift. Dad, he called, spotting me. Watch this. I smiled. A genuine smile, one that reached my eyes for the first time in over a year. I'm watching, I called back. I'm right here. As Theo proudly demonstrated his newest trick, my phone buzzed. A text from Judge Monroe. Custody modification approved. Effective immediately. I slipped the phone back into my pocket without replying. The time for looking backward was over. Whatever came next, recovery, rebuilding, perhaps even redemption for those who earned it, would unfold on my terms. For now, watching my son in the fading afternoon light was judgment enough.